Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. Today I wanted to show you how to work the stitches for this cowl that's in a black and white stripe. And every 2 rows I've switched colors. I've used white and black, and it's Lion Brand Butta, B-U-T-T-A yarn that I've used. It's a real nice soft yarn, as the name implies. And I'm going to show you how to do the stitches. But I'm going to use a different color because I think that you're going to have a hard time seeing this black. I think it's going to not show up well on camera, but you can see here's the back side, and then here's the other side, the front side. I am going to show you how I'm going to join it, because the whole thing is work flat, then I'm going to join it. I've carried my yarn up the side, so because I've done that, and it's only on one side, the other side I did not. But I think if I do a row of single crochet stitches here, it'll cover up my yarn. But then if I do a row of single crochet here, I think it'll look funny if I don't do one here. So I'm going to do a row of single crochet on each side. These ends will be joined. So anyway, I'll get to that in just a moment first. But anyways, that's what my brain is thinking, and why I'm thinking of doing it that way is because I didn't want to have to weave in a whole bunch of yarn ends. I wanted to save time. And I thought that the black and white theme was real pretty for fall. It could be used at any time of year, but you know, it could be a cute fall theme. Okay, so let's get our slip knot on our hook. But I'm going to show you real simple how to do this. And you can use any number of stitches. Let me adjust my light so it's a little bit more brighter here for you. Okay. I don't know, let's do 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, now in the third loop from the hook, 1, 2, 3, we're going to put our first stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, and we're doing a half double crochets. So I insert my hook through the loop, yarn over, bring it through, and come there, yarn over and come through all 3 loops. I'm going to do it again in the next stitch, yarn over, put my hook through, and yarn over and bring it through all 3 loops. We're going to continue to do this all the way across. The first loops that we skipped are going to count as a half double crochet. So when we do our stitches coming back the other way, we'll have to make sure that we catch that. And your sides will end up real nice. I'm almost done here. Just takes a few seconds. All I'm doing is half double crochet all the way across. What I'm using for yarn, I actually think it's a loops and threads, maybe yarn, just to show you, and so you can see the stitches here. Okay, and then probably my second color, I have a scrap yarn of a red, and I know that that's Caron Simply Soft. And I happen to be using a H size hook, okay? So our first row of half double crochets is done. So now we're going to turn this. I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, that very same first stitch. Some people are able to work in this bottom one here because to get the ribbing looking, it's hard to see that there's ribbing. But maybe if I show you like at an angle, you can see that there's actually ribbing. There's ribbing on the dark and there's ribbing on the white. Both of them have ribbing. Hopefully you can see if I hold it this way. Okay, and it's the same on both sides. So what I'm doing is I'm working into the front third loop. Well, you could work in this front third loop right here of that first stitch. However, I'm cheating. I'm making it easy on myself on this particular scarf. And I'm just going through for the first stitch, I'm going through the first 2 loops, okay? Then after that, I'm going through that front third loop. Because here's the top loop. See that? There's the top loops that you'd normally go through like I just did here. All the way across. If you turn it forward, there's this loop right here This is the one I want to pick up. This is right here, okay? If I do that, it's going to pop those 2 stitches to the front. So it'll pop those to the front, and it'll give you a nice ridge that makes it look knit, just a little bit knit or just rib look. So we're going to continue to do the half double crochet, but we're just placing the stitch in that front loop. So here we go again. I'm going to go all the way across, doing my half double crochets in that. Remember, here's the top loops, but we've got to flip it forward, and if you just hold it like a, you know, flat, that 3rd loop is at the top, and it makes it really easy. I don't mess up then and accidentally grab the other ones. And when I was working with the black yarn, it wasn't too hard to work, because I just had a, if you just put your hook kind of down, you know, down here, you're automatically, and the way you hold it, it's automatically going to go into that loop. So working with the dark yarn wasn't real hard, but I think it's going to be too hard to show on camera for your folks. That's why I'm not going to do it. Okay, so I did 2 rows of each color. And the reason I did that, I have 1 more here. See this? This is the last loop. I have 1 more here. This is the first stitches that we skipped. This is the top chain. And I'm going to do that last half double crochet. I'm pulling it up here. Okay, so here's the side we were working on. I turn it over, and you see how that's popped forward? That's popped on top. And that's how it looks. And then when I come to the other side, we're going to do the same stitches, and then it's going to pop on the other side. So every other side, it's going to pop, because I'm going to do the same stitch all the way across. This is pretty much your pattern all the way across. And we're going to continue on with our pattern. Okay, and in a minute I'm going to show you how I'm going to join my other. Here's my chain, and then I just go through the 2 loops, make my half double crochet, and now I go through those front loops, doing my half double crochet. Red probably wasn't the color to pick either, but I wanted you to be able to see the contrasting rows. And I hope that you're able to see these stitches. Okay. Then we get to the other side. We'll do the exact same pattern all the way back. But this is how you work this pattern. For this cowl, it's worked in the flat. Actually, this would be a really pretty color for Christmas maybe, or Valentine's. So now I don't have any front loop left, but I have the first stitch right here that I've got to work. I've got to stick my hook in here. Come on. There we go. Now I'm going to turn it, chain 1, yarn over, and then put my first stitch in that loop, and then I go back to the front loop here, and I'll show you how this looks after I get this row done. And I'm also going to show you what I meant by carrying the yarn up, how I do that. I do that more and more often on blankets if it's not too far of, I don't know, I've gone I'm going to have to get my yarn. If I've gone 2 and 3 inches of bringing my yarn up, and actually on a blanket yarn using Bernat blanket, a chunky yarn, I've done it, and it was like 5 or 6 inches, and it worked out really well. I was surprised carrying it that distance, how nicely it worked out. Okay, I gotta find my stitches here. But it's just so much nicer than having to weave in a bunch of yarn. You just got to make sure you put a border on things and you cover it right up. Okay, almost done. Got here, and then I have one more right here. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like. So right here is a ridge. Here was that first ridge that we made, that I first showed you, right here. This is that first ridge. Then, because we did the same stitches, your first ridge on the next row is here. Then your next row of ridges is here, right here in the red. And then when I do the next row back, my next row of ridges is going to be these red stitches that will be pushed this way. So you're going to have 2 rows of red stitches here, and then 2 rows of, or I should say, a row of red stitches and white stitches here, and the same thing, white stitches and red stitches here that are pushed back, you know, up, that give you that ridge, okay? So now, if I was continuing on with this, I first of all wouldn't want to twist there. Okay, I would just take my white yarn, make sure I'm not using the tail, and I just bring it through the loop, take my red loop, and I just pull that down, and then my white yarn is just gently laying against my crochet. I'm not pulling it. I'm being careful not to pull it down because you don't want to distort your crochet and squinch it down. Okay, and that's it. I'm just going to chain 1, yarn over, put my hook through those top 2 loops, do my first half double crochet, and then just continue on in my next color. And I just leave that red sit there, and I'll come back to it when I come back on the other side with my second row of white. And that's all there is to it. And you just continue to alternate your colors. And then when you're all said and done, we're going to do a row of single crochet anyway. Okay, and that's how this is looking. You can see where the stitches here are starting to push forward. All right, so that's how you do the rows. Okay, now I have my yarn through the black yarn, the white yarn is. So I'm just going to line up my stitches as best we can here all the way across. And we're just going to work through these stitches here. This is the bottom crochet stitches, or any spaces really. You're just going to kind of adjust them through here. And I'm going to go first stitches here, yarn over, bring it through the loops, and then just through the stitch. And we're just going to keep working across. Like here's another stitch. I'm going to go here and bring my yarn through and through the loop. Insert my hook on this side, and then over to this side, yarn over, bring it through here and here. And we're just going to keep slip stitching on through one side and the other side, yarn over and bring the yarn through. And we're just going to continue to slip stitch. And actually that slip stitch and that raised ridge will kind of mirror what we've been doing already. And you may be able to notice where we've joined it later, and that's okay. But like I mentioned, once I get the slip stitch to the edge, then we're going to use the black yarn on one side and the white yarn on the other. And I'm going to do a row of single crochet all around the edge. And I'm just going to ease my stitches around. I don't have any kind of a special stitch count that I'm going to do. We'll see what it looks like if I do 2 stitches per row or just 1. So I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to stop now and show you what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. So you can kind of tell, you know, but I don't know, the black is pretty forgiving. And here's my yarn that I got hanging out. Here's my original yarn that I have to weave in yet, that I did not weave in. But it's starting to look pretty nice. I'm just going to go all the way to the end. And like I said, I'll have my white yarn over here, and I still have my black yarn, my working yarn, over here. So this side will be black, and then this side's going to be white. So I'm going to continue to do my slip stitches all the way across, and then I'll show you how I'm doing my single crochet. Okay, I have my cowl joined. Here's how it looks. Here's how it's going to look on the other side. It's pretty hard to tell where I've joined it. It's actually right here is the seam. But gosh, it's hard, very hard to tell where I joined it. And it's all joined there. So now I'm going to do a row of single crochet. I didn't weave in my yarn ends yet. Yes, I'm bad. I normally do. I normally do before I start this step. but I just wanted to show you here. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to start working the single crochet all the way around the hat. And I'm going to do that on the top and the bottom. And I'm just going to ease my stitches around. And I just think it'll make a nice little polished look here to it. And that's it. And then I will weave in my yarn ends, and then I'm going to be done. I'm going to show you how this is looking here. There we go. And I'm just going to have my row of single crochet around, and it'll kind of make a nice finished edge there. The edge does look nice on its own, but because on this side when I do my single crochet, I'm going to be crocheting over those ends. I hope you enjoy and make one of your own, and take care. Have a good day. Enjoy crocheting.